What's up, toy soldiers? Welcome back to Mighty Champions. My name is John Sargent. Today we are going to be reviewing WWE Elite Series 111 Sandman. First time in the line. I am crazy excited to bust this thing open. I've been looking forward to this figure for a really long time. Of course, we're going to be doing this with the help of the mighty professor of science of champions, who is going to be taking a look at this figure with us. Before we crack this bad boy open, though, I need you guys to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any of the future reviews. We do WWE figures, we do AEW figures, we're getting into retro stuff, we're getting into Star Wars, we got Marvel stuff that we're always doing. You don't want to miss any of it, so make sure you hit that subscribe button. It also helps me monetize the channel, which if we are able to do that, all that money goes back into the channel. It means more figures, more exciting toy hunts. So go ahead and hit that button. But that covers that. Let's take a look at the Sandman. Why didn't I say enter? Idiot. If you're new to the channel, the first thing that we always do is we take a thorough look at the box. This is an awesome box. You've got this great picture of Sandman on the back here with his Singapore cane. It's not a kendo stick, at least not in his hands. Sandman entered night after night through the ECW faithful before sending his opponents to Never Never Land with extreme violence. Career highlights: ECW champion, ECW tag team champion. You got your cross sell down here with the other people from the line. Great timing with him. Been looking for this all over the place. If you guys are watching the toy hunts, I ended up picking this up at Monkey See, Monkey Do here in Austin, so definitely watch that toy hunt. But man, did it take a long time to track this bad boy down. I did see the chase here as well. To be honest with you, I prefer the normal version over the chase, so I picked up this one. But on the side, you've got first time in the line, Sandman Elite, certified authentic, so it's definitely not a knockoff. You've got obviously the big WWE logo. This cardboard feels so cheap and chintzy. You got the window in the top, so you get lots of light in there so you can see the man himself. And then you've got the glamour shot on the side for those of you who keep it in the box and store them library style. That looks pretty dang good to me. But enough about the box. We want to talk about the figure. All right, we got our boy Robert Q Sandman busted out of his plastic, and we can start taking a look at him. We always start with the accessories. The first thing that really kind of caught my attention right when I pulled him out was the hands. So you can see that he's got two kendo stick gripping hands on him, and then he comes with two beer gripping hands, chair gripping, beer gripping hands. So he doesn't have any fists, which is an odd choice. I have a tackle box with 1 million extra hands in it, and I have, half of that is fists, so no problem as far as that goes for me. But kind of an odd choice to not include fists with this figure. Then, of course, he comes with his iconic Singapore cane. There was a huge story in the news right around this time where I believe an American in Singapore got caught stealing, and they caned him, and that's why they started calling this a Singapore cane at the time. Looks great, feels sturdy. It's a little bit bendy, but not too bendy. Has the little tape parts holding it together. Good looking cane. The number of beers caught my attention too. So these look, they look how you'd want them to look. They have the little tab on the top, and there's not a label, but I'm sure you can go to Threadheads or somewhere online and get a label to put on them. Budweiser or whatever it is you want to do to these. But why are there 4? He only has 2 hands, right? So 2 obviously makes sense. And if you're going to do more than 2, why would you not do 6? But I'm glad to have these. These are awesome for just photography and displaying, and they look great, and obviously they go with the character really well. Now let's get into the Sandman himself. So I have seen some other people looking at this barbed wire that he comes with and taking it off and talking about how great the barbed wire looks and then not being able to get it back on. Full disclosure, you guys, I'm not taking this off because I'm going to display it just like this. There's just a white singlet, a painted on singlet underneath this. Um, I'll throw up a picture of it here. And then the shirt is a nice, like, soft goods shirt that has the Velcro in the back. So it's that style of shirt. But because of the nature of this Velcro stuff, wire, who kills you, barbed wire. Because of the nature of this barbed wire, I'm not taking it off. It's going to stay just like this. So, but here it is. Here's the Sandman. Let's start from the top and we'll work our way down. I think this head sculpt looks like Sandman in this era. I love this facial expression, that like Al Bundy kind of style of, like, looks a little bit like Pat McAfee too, huh? That something stinks, that like William Regal, Al Bundy, something stinks expression on his face. I love it. The hair looks really good. He's a little bit chubby because he was a little bit chubby at the time. Like, this looks like ECW, original ECW Sandman to me. Like, I love it. Like I talked about, the shirt looks really good. The barbed wire looks amazing, especially the way that the factory has put it on here. The pants, though, steal the show. This level of decal, of decoration, deco hits, is like part of the reason why I started collecting figures again, because this has never been a possibility until now. Things like this, things like the tattoos, like if you really look at this, it's like individual little skulls. It's individual little patterns that are like repeated, but it's also random. There's like playing cards in here and like top hats. Like this is something that when I was a kid and I was collecting figures simply couldn't be done. And to see it now is pretty crazy, and it looks so good with this color scheme. And then of course you've got the shoes. What are these? Are these Shaqs? Like Shaq? These aren't Shaq Gnosis, are they? Are they Kobe's? What are these? Somebody that's a greater sneakerhead than me, drop a comment. What kind of you guys can probably hear my dog snoring. What kind of shoes are these? But they look so good on this figure in particular. I just love the like complete monochrome aesthetic of all of this. As far as the articulation goes, arms go just above 90. He'll do the Raven pose. The elbows are pinless and double jointed, so you get all of that articulation out of it. He does have an ab crunch, but it's not super great. He'll go backwards a pretty decent amount, more flexible than the real Sandman probably. In the legs, there is a thigh cut that is perfectly hidden by the design of the pants, which is awesome. Like, all of the articulation is hidden. The legs are double jointed and pinned. I honestly had to take a pretty close look to see if they were pinned or pinless, so don't mind those pins when you can't see them, and it means that the articulation is really good. There is not a boot cut. That's a little bit of a miss. And then in the ankles, they will go forward, backwards, a little bit of side to side, and then he's got not much of a big boot. He's not, maybe a little bit. And these are not drop down hips. So just like the real Sandman, he's not the most flexible guy in the world, but he looks awesome. Let's have a look at how tall he is. Sandman looks to be maybe about 6 3/4 or so, depending on which liquor store he happens to be walking out of. So that seems about right. It's a little annoying when figures are either too tall or too short, but this one seems pretty in line. I have met Sandman, and that seems pretty on par with what I would expect, but let's compare him to some other hardcore legends. All right, now we've got Sandman and fellow hardcore icon Mick Foley, Cactus Jack. One of the great things about having this channel and reviewing these figures and doing these comparisons is that I have a reason to break out figures that I have not got on display at the moment. So I did the new Mankind and I put away this Cactus Jack. I love getting this Cactus Jack back out. What a great comparison this is too. Like, look at all this barbed wire and just hardcore, and these guys look violent just sitting there not doing anything. Like, what an awesome pairing this is. Here's Rob Van Dam with the Sandman, a couple of ECW Hall of Famers, in my opinion. There's not a ton of ECW guys that I love, but the ones that I love, I really love. And obviously, Rob Van Dam and Sandman are a couple of those guys. So here's a pretty awesome comparison. For me, this is the definitive Rob Van Dam figure. I love this gear so much. So these two together also looks epic. Really need a Sabu. I really need a Taz. There's a ton of ECW guys that I would love to have in a 6-inch articulated model just like this, but here's a couple of the top of the top. We have reached the part of the show where the mighty professor of science, of champions, is going to step in. He's going to evaluate this figure, and then he's going to give us his completely objective scientific opinion of how this figure rates on a scale of 1 to 100. And then when he's done doing that, I'm going to come back and I'm going to give you my opinion of the figure on a subjective level and how I feel about it on a hot to cold scale. So let's let him take a look and then we'll see what he thinks. Mighty Professor, what is
this Sandman
your
WWE Elite action figure is nearly perfect. The science shows that it is a 93 out of 100 with only the lack of blood and cigarette being markdowns.
Alright, there you have it from the Mighty Professor. High grade of a 93. How do I feel about this Sandman figure? I'm not even going to beat around the bush. All the way red. Look at this thing, man. This is the nearly, licensing problems with the shirt aside, it is the exact representation of Sandman that I want. Well, one of them, of this era of Sandman. Like, I can hear this thing, man. This looks like the cover of the ECW album. Like, I can hear those songs. I can hear the ECW theme just looking at this thing. The way that, like, the barbed wire looks. I do want them to do the black shirt kind of later run one as well, but the way that the pants look, I've had so much fun just posing this thing around. It is a blast to play with. It's all the way red. I knew I was going to like this figure. I didn't think I was going to like it this much. I'm not going to go as far as to call it like figure of the year or anything like that, but I think it might be one of my favorite figures of the year. So maybe we'll do some kind of list at the end. Let me know in the comments if you want something like that. But all the accessories, the way, like, it's just so much fun. Highly recommend. If you're choosing between the American flag pants chase or this one, just get the one that you think looks the best. This is the way that I like it, so this is the one that I went with. All right, guys, that pretty much wraps it up for the Sandman review. Since you made it this far, you have to like this video. Hit that little thumb button. It really helps me out in the algorithms. Hit the subscribe button. We are definitely trying to monetize this so we can buy more ECW figures and review them for your entertainment. Leave me a comment. Let me know what you think of this figure. What ECW figures are you looking for? What wrestling figures in general are you looking for? I genuinely am interested. Hit me in the comments and let me know. I really appreciate you guys sticking it out this far, and I will catch you next time. Peace.